Book of Enoch, fallen angels, Nephilim, ancient secrets buried beneath sacred silence. They say the Bible is complete. They say truth has no missing pieces. But what if one book, one man, held the keys to unlock everything we were never supposed to know? Before Noah ever built an ark, before the law of Moses, before the birth of Jesus, there was Enoch, a man who walked with God and disappeared. But he didn't die. He was taken, lifted into the heavens, shown visions so terrifying, so divine, they shook even the angels. He saw the watchers fall. He saw giants walk the earth. He saw the Son of Man enthroned before time began. The Book of Enoch was cast aside, too dangerous, too revealing, because it names names: Azazel, Shemiyaza, the fallen angels who corrupted mankind. Because it dares to reveal the origins of demons, the hidden role of the Nephilim, and the final judgment that awaits the powers of this world. Why has this book been silenced for centuries? Why was it quoted in the Bible, but banned from the Bible? And why, in a time of confusion and darkness, is it now resurfacing? This is not mythology. This is prophecy. In this video, you will uncover the hidden truth behind the Book of Enoch, what it says about the fallen angels, the Nephilim, the Watchers, and the Son of Man. You will discover how this ancient scripture reshapes our understanding of the end times, of divine justice, and of spiritual rebellion. And you will finally understand why this book terrified the powerful and awakened the faithful. Do you believe angels could fall? Do you think the Nephilim still walk among us? Comment your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you're ready to walk deeper into the mystery. Because what Enoch saw was not meant for his time. It was meant for yours. Why was the Book of Enoch hidden for centuries? They said it was too strange, too mystical, too dangerous for ordinary men to read. Not because it lacked truth, but because it revealed too much of it. The Book of Enoch was once cherished by the early followers of Jesus. It was known by the apostles, quoted by Jude himself, and echoed through the writings of Peter. In Jude chapter 1, 14-15, we hear the unmistakable words of Enoch: "Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints." Why would the New Testament quote a book that modern churches never mention? Because once, Enoch's visions were light in the darkness. But as the centuries turned, powerful men, rulers of theology, architects of canon, began to tremble. The Book of Enoch speaks of angels who sinned, of heaven invaded by rebellion, of giants born from divine beings and mortal women. It unveils how secrets of warfare, sorcery, seduction, and control were handed down by celestial rebels. This was not a comforting doctrine. It was not convenient. It was not tame. And so they buried it. The church in Ethiopia held on. For thousands of years they preserved it in Ge'ez, their sacred tongue, while the rest of the world forgot. In the shadows of ancient cathedrals and monasteries, the pages of Enoch whispered truth that was silenced in the West. But truth is a flame. You can smother it, but you cannot kill it. Fragments of Enoch were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, proof that ancient Jews considered it sacred. Scholars found the Aramaic roots. They uncovered the Greek echoes. They traced the Latin lines, and the question began to rise again like a fire rekindled. Why was Enoch hidden? Because the book does not flatter religious institutions. It does not uphold the illusion that all angels obey. It breaks the illusion that spiritual realms are simple. Instead, it reveals a layered cosmos, a battlefield between light and darkness, truth and deception, obedience and rebellion. Enoch doesn't just talk about morality. He speaks of cosmic justice. He speaks of principalities, powers, the unseen rulers that enslave nations. He names the angels, he names the crimes, and he proclaims the coming of the Son of Man, a pre-existent divine figure who judges not only men, but also angels. Imagine this in the hands of the oppressed, the enslaved, the outcast, those who suffered under empires that called themselves holy. What would happen if they read Enoch and realized God sees everything? Justice is coming. The rulers will fall. The giants will perish. The heavens will be cleansed, and the faithful will shine like stars. Would the powerful still feel safe? No wonder it was banned. No wonder it was hidden. But now, it's resurfacing, in a world that feels like it's spiraling, where deception reigns and darkness spreads. People are searching, they are awakening, and the Book of Enoch is calling to them again. Have you ever felt like there was more? Like the Bible was only a doorway, and Enoch was the key? Comment your thoughts. Should this book be restored to Scripture, or was it right to be hidden? And as we move deeper into the text, the mystery grows. The Book of Enoch doesn't just expose the fallen. It tells us exactly how they fell and why. The veil is about to be torn. Let's step into the storm. The Watchers and the first spiritual rebellion. They weren't demons at first. They were watchers, holy ones, created to observe, to guard, to guide. But something in them shifted. Enoch tells us that 200 angels descended to the earth in the days of Jared. They were not cast down like Lucifer. They chose to fall. They bound themselves by an unholy oath made on Mount Hermon, and their leader, Azazel, spoke the words that sealed their fate. Let us all swear an oath, and bind ourselves by mutual curses not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. And the plan? To take the daughters of men, to violate the boundary between heaven and earth, to mix the divine with the human. They fathered the Nephilim, giants of brutal strength and dark hunger. Enoch says their height was 300 ells. They consumed all that man possessed, and when that was not enough, they turned on men. They devoured their flesh. They drank their blood. It was not just physical violence, it was a corruption of order. Azazel, one of the chief angels, taught mankind war, armor, cosmetics, witchcraft. The very things that shaped civilizations, bronze, beauty, battle, were handed down from a being that heaven would later curse. Others taught astrology, cloud reading, signs of the moon, root cutting. What today we call ancient knowledge was, in Enoch's view, forbidden knowledge, meant to awaken pride, power, and godlessness. Can you see it? A world addicted to image, beauty, control. A world ruled not by virtue, but by manipulation, violence, lust. The same forces we fight today. This is not just ancient history. This is the blueprint of rebellion. Yes, it starts with one compromise, then a pact, then a race of giants. God sees the earth, he hears the cries, and he sends the archangels. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel, they rise not to comfort, but to confront. God commands judgment. Enoch watches as they bind the fallen angels. Azazel is chained. Azazel is buried beneath jagged stones in Dudael. The Nephilim are set to war against each other. Blood answers blood. This story should shake us, because it shows how evil is not always sudden. It descends gradually, through knowledge without wisdom, power without purpose, desire without boundaries. The lesson: every act of rebellion starts as a whisper. Every fall begins with a gaze that lingers too long. But heaven still watches, and justice never sleeps. As we continue, the question is no longer what happened, but what did God do next? Azazel and the corruption of civilization. He was once glorious, a watcher among watchers, a being of celestial light. But Azazel chose to fall not with force, but with influence. He taught men to forge swords, to shape knives, to build shields and breastplates. He revealed the secrets of metal, of war, of destruction, not to defend, but to dominate. He taught women how to beautify their faces, how to line their eyes with antimony, how to decorate themselves with precious stones, not to honor, but to seduce. What he brought was not just information, it was distortion. He didn't break the world. He changed its foundation. Enoch tells us that godlessness multiplied. That man, under Azazel's influence, began to sin not only against God, but against nature. They sinned against birds, beasts, reptiles, even fish. They invented new ways to pervert what was pure. What happens when the sacred is sold? When knowledge becomes currency? When beauty becomes a weapon? Azazel is not a myth. He is the embodiment of every corrupted genius, every empire that rose on exploitation, every innovation twisted into oppression, and God judged him. He was bound, cast into the desert, covered in darkness until the day of the great judgment. His name became a curse, but even more chilling, God said, "To him ascribe all sin." One being, one choice, one poison that still seeps through our world today. We chase innovation without asking where it comes from. We build systems without asking whom they serve. We glorify appearances and silence the soul. Azazel's shadow is everywhere, in the marketing that manipulates, the algorithms that addict, the ideologies that divide. And yet, there is hope. Because Enoch shows us that when judgment fell, healing began. The earth itself was healed, the plague lifted, the chains returned to the fallen. The people began to see again. This is more than history. This is a warning and a promise. When darkness rises, light rises higher. When corruption spreads, truth pierces through. And as we step forward into the next vision, remember this: the heavens are watching, the angels are moving, and the war is not over. The story continues. The Son of Man is about to appear, and nothing will ever be the same. The heavenly trial. How God judged the watchers. The heavens do not forget. When the cries of the earth rise like smoke, when the blood of the innocent soaks the soil, and no justice is found among men, the throne of the Most High is stirred. The Book of Enoch unveils the moment when divine patience ends and holy judgment begins, not with mankind, but with the fallen ones, the watchers who broke their sacred trust. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel stand before the presence of the Lord of Spirits, not as passive witnesses, but as active agents of righteous wrath. They speak not only for man, but for creation itself, corrupted, tormented, twisted under the weight of celestial betrayal. And the voice of the Holy One echoes with power. Go, bind them, cast them into the darkness. This is not metaphor. This is not myth. This is divine court in session. Michael is sent to bind Shemyaza and his companions, the 200 angels who swore an oath and defiled themselves with the daughters of men. The command is brutal in clarity. They are to be chained in the valleys of the earth for 70 generations. Their sentence is sealed not only by time, but by eternity. They will witness the destruction of their own sons, the Nephilim, torn apart by war, and after that, they shall be cast into the abyss of fire. Raphael is sent against Azazel, the most corrupt of them all. He is ordered to bind him hand and foot, bury him under jagged, desolate rocks in the desert place called Dudael, and to cover his face, so he shall see no light until the great day of judgment. To him it is said, all sin shall be ascribed. Think about that. The totality of corruption, the infection of man, of earth, of soul, is laid upon one name. Azazel. Gabriel is sent to purge the children of the Watchers, the giants, the Nephilim, those who fed on flesh and blood, who taught mankind violence, who left trails of ruin and suffering. His command is harrowing. Turn them against one another. Let them destroy each other in bloodshed without mercy, until none remain. And Uriel, the flame of God, is sent to Noah. Yes, Noah, the grandson of Enoch, a righteous man hidden in a wicked generation. Uriel is told to reveal the coming deluge, to give Noah the message: hide yourself, build the ark, preserve your seed. The flood is not just a story of water. It is the baptism of the earth, a cleansing of divine magnitude. This is where divine justice meets cosmic rebellion. The Book of Enoch reveals what Genesis only whispers. This is not the punishment of mankind's mistake. This is the judgment of angelic rebellion and the cleansing of their corruption from the world. What's terrifying is not the wrath, but the righteousness of it. God does not lash out. He acts with precision. The sentence fits the sin. The timing fits the weight of eternity. And the earth itself breathes again when the fallen are bound. Today we often ask, where is justice? We see corruption flourish. We see systems fail. But Enoch reminds us, judgment delayed is not judgment denied. The Watchers were cast down. The giants were destroyed. The source of evil was chained. The lesson is heavy, but healing. No rebellion escapes the gaze of God. No wound is unseen, and no voice lifted in truth will be forgotten. As we move deeper, something strange begins to take form. A figure not like the rest, ancient and radiant, seated beside the throne. The Son of Man. The Son of Man. A Messiah older than time, long before Bethlehem, long before the cradle in a manger, before Rome ruled, before Herod trembled, before even the stars were flung into the night sky. He was. The Book of Enoch presents a figure who is not merely human, not merely angelic, but divine. He is called many names: the elect one, the righteous one, the Son of Man. He is hidden with God, named before creation, and revealed only at the end of days, to judge, to redeem, to reign. In Enoch's vision, the Son of Man is seated on a throne of glory, beside the Ancient of Days. The angels worship him, the saints bless him, and the kings of the earth, those who ruled with pride, those who mocked justice, tremble before him. This is not just a king. This is a being through whom the righteous stand and the wicked fall. The book says he is a light to the nations, a hope to the troubled. He carries the authority to execute judgment not just on men, but on angels, on powers, on heavens. And here is the stunning truth. The Son of Man in Enoch is the same figure we see in Daniel 7, where one like the Son of Man comes with the clouds of heaven. It is the same language Jesus used of himself again and again in the Gospels. It is not poetic coincidence. It is prophetic fulfillment. Enoch describes him as both pre-existent and glorified, chosen before the sun and moon were made, exalted before the stars began to shine. This is Christ before the cradle, the Lamb before the altar, the Word before the flesh. He is not discovered. He is revealed to the elect, to the faithful, to those with eyes to see and hearts that burn. The wicked do not recognize him. That is their judgment. They fall because they refuse to glorify the one from whom they received their kingdoms. They fall because they forgot the source of their breath, the ground beneath their feet, the throne above their power. This revelation is not just theology. It is transformation. because it tells us God's plan was not improvised. The Messiah was not plan B. Redemption was not reaction. It was written before the foundations of the world. The Son of Man is the eternal thread, weaving through creation, through rebellion, through restoration. And for us, this truth heals. You were not forgotten. You were not created randomly. You were written into a story that begins and ends with the one who sees all, who knows all, who reigns through mercy and judgment alike. As we continue, the throne room of heaven fades and the fire returns. Not symbolic fire, but a real place burning and ready, the lake of fire, the judgment to come, not just for humans, but for those who dared to touch heaven with unholy hands. The judgment to come, not just for humans. The final scene Enoch beholds is not soft nor poetic. It is fierce, a courtroom of eternity, a prison without exit, a fire that never dims. This is the moment every being, angel or man, giant or king, must face the weight of their deeds. The lake of fire is not for the broken-hearted or the repentant. It is not for the weak or the wandering. It is reserved for those who rejected the light, who glorified themselves, who led others into rebellion. It is for the watchers, for the Nephilim, for the rulers of darkness who fed on the ignorance of mankind. Enoch says they will be judged by the Son of Man. He will cast them down, not with rage, but with authority. And their fall will be like stars torn from the sky. We must understand, this judgment is not cruelty. It is the sealing of justice, the reward of every righteous cry, the answer to every prayer where we whispered, "How long, O Lord?" But it is also the dividing line, because after this judgment there is no repentance, no second chance. The door of the ark has closed. The scroll has been sealed. Those who chose pride cannot enter mercy. Those who mocked the truth cannot dwell in light. And yet, even here, there is hope. Because Enoch says that the righteous will shine like stars, that they will dwell in peace, that their tears will be wiped, their wounds healed, that those who were blinded will see again, those who were broken will be made whole. This is not fear-mongering. This is the highest justice, the end of injustice, the final cleansing of all corruption. And it is coming, not someday, not eventually, but surely. The lesson is piercing. Your choices echo beyond time. What you glorify, what you follow, what you love, it will either lead you into glory or judgment. And today you still have a voice. Comment below. Do you believe judgment is real or symbolic? Should angels be judged the same as men? Let this not be a tale of fear, but of fire that purifies, truth that confronts, light that heals. Because beyond this valley of flame, beyond the throne of judgment, there is a new day rising, and those who endure shall walk in the brightness of the Lamb. The dream of beasts, history, written in animal form, in the stillness of a night, heavy with divine presence, Enoch dreams. But this is not a dream of clouds and symbols. It is a vision, blazing and alive, a revelation encoded in the language of beasts. One by one, the stories of nations unfold, not with names and flags, but as bulls and sheep, lions and wolves, eagles and serpents. History becomes alive, it breathes, and what it whispers will haunt the ears of the wise. The vision begins at the beginning. A white bull rises from the ground, Adam. A heifer joins him, Eve. Their sons, bulls of different colors, appear, but one turns dark, Cain. And from that darkness comes chaos, spreading like poison into the bloodline of mankind. Stars fall, angels rebel, and they too begin to take the form of animals, but not the gentle kind. They are wolves, jackals, beasts with blood on their teeth and pride in their eyes. The watchers descend, the Nephilim are born, and soon the sheep, God's people, are among predators. The wild beasts devour, deceive, scatter. The sheep cannot see. They become blind, not because they were born without sight, but because they chose not to look. And so, the Lord of the sheep watches, grieving. His voice thunders from the heavens, but the earth has grown dull in hearing. Then comes Moses, a sheep among sheep, but with fire in his bones. He leads them out. The wolves retreat, but their fangs still lurk. As soon as Moses ascends the mountain, they build a golden calf, a return to the old gods, to the idol of the beast, to the corruption taught by the watchers. More sheep appear, judges, prophets, kings. David, a ram with strength. Solomon, a builder of towers. But again and again, blindness returns. Pride multiplies. Foreign beasts enter the fold. Babylonian lions, Assyrian jackals, Persian eagles, Greek leopards, Roman bears. Each empire, each power, takes its turn devouring the sheep. The 70 shepherds, foreign rulers allowed by God, are given charge, but they abuse their authority. They feed themselves and not the flock. Enoch weeps in the vision. He pleads with the Lord of the sheep. He sees blood, he sees fire, he sees the temple fall, and he sees the blind sheep following blind shepherds into ruin. But then, light breaks. The Lord of the sheep descends. He builds a new house, not a house of wood or gold, but of light and spirit. And into this house, all kinds of animals enter, not just sheep, wild beasts, birds of prey, crawling things. But here's the miracle. They do not remain as they were. They are transformed. The lion lies down like a lamb. The wolf becomes a sheep. And the greatest white bull is born, the Messiah. This new bull, unlike the first, shines with glory. He is worshipped not by force, but by love. And through him, the sheep become bulls again, restored to their first identity, renewed in strength and purpose. The lesson is profound. Your past may be wild. You may have lived among wolves, devoured or devouring. But in the house of the Lord, transformation is real. You are not stuck in your form. You are not defined by your origin. You are destined for glory. Comment below. Which beast do you feel describes your past? And who are you becoming in his house? Because the dream isn't over. What Enoch saw next was a map of time itself, not in minutes or hours, but in the divine rhythm of redemption. 10 weeks of time, the prophetic blueprint of the ages. There are clocks, and there are calendars. But above them all, there are divine seasons, appointed times woven into the very breath of creation. Enoch is shown these times as weeks, not of days, but of destiny. 10 epochs, 10 phases of humanity's journey from dust to glory. The first week ends with Enoch himself, a man who walked with God, who broke the pattern of death, who was taken into light. The second ends with the flood, a cleansing, a divine reset. The third ends with Abraham, the planting of righteousness into the soil of human history. The fourth ends at Sinai, where Torah descends like fire and the covenant is carved into stone. Then comes the fifth, the building of the temple, the echo of Eden rising again in the center of a fallen world. But in the sixth, darkness returns. Apostasy spreads like disease. Prophets are killed. Truth is sold. The temple burns. The seventh week begins with a cry from the wilderness. It is the season of the Messiah. But this week is not peaceful. It is a time of division. Light clashes with darkness. The righteous rise, but persecution strikes them down. This is the age of martyrs, of saints burned at the stake, of hidden believers singing in caves. And then the 8th week dawns, righteousness flourishes, truth returns, healing flows. The house of the great king is built, not with bricks, but with living stones. This is the church purified, the bride without blemish, the harvest after the storm. The 9th week brings judgment, not fearfully but finally. Wickedness is removed. The old systems fall. Thrones of pride are shattered. The earth itself groans, then sighs with relief. And the 10th? Oh, the 10th is holy. It is the birth of a new heaven, a new earth. The spiritual becomes visible. The eternal becomes tangible. There is no more night, no more pain. The king reigns, not symbolically, but truly, forever. The calendar of God is not vague, it is precise. And Enoch saw it all, thousands of years before our clocks began ticking. The beauty of this vision is not in prediction, but in preparation. You are living in one of these weeks. Maybe you're walking through the fire of week 7. Maybe you're tasting the justice of week 9. But take heart, the week of glory is coming. Let this awaken you, not with fear, but with fire. You are not aimless. You were born into a sacred chapter of time. What you do now echoes into eternity. And as we turn the page again, we encounter a comparison history almost buried, not between prophets, but between covenants, between Enoch, the 7th from Adam, and Moses, the lawgiver from the mountain. Enoch versus Moses, the forgotten covenant. 2 men, 2 mountains, 2 revelations. One walked with God in a time before nations, before law, before sacrifice. The other climbed Sinai and brought back stone tablets inscribed by fire. But which came first, and which covenant still speaks? Enoch never gave a law, he gave a warning. He was not called to organize a nation, but to testify to the heavens. His words are soaked in vision, not command. He speaks of angels, not altars, of heavens, not tabernacles. And yet, his words endure, echoing through time like thunder over a distant sea. Moses brought Torah, statutes, systems, a holy nation governed by divine rule, but that nation fell. That temple was torn, and that covenant, as the prophet Jeremiah foretold, would one day be replaced, not by law written on stone, but law written on hearts. Could it be that Enoch saw that covenant first? James Vanderkam and other scholars point to this possibility, that Enoch represents a more ancient stream of faith, one not based on rituals, but on relationship, not on sacrifices, but on surrender. That Enoch is a figure of spiritual intimacy, raw, unscripted, mystical, unbound by tribe, by temple, by territory. And here is the mystery. Jesus, the Son of Man, echoes Enoch more than Moses. He teaches in visions. He speaks of angels ascending and descending. He confronts spiritual powers. He calls himself the light, the judge, the elect one. The church has long focused on Moses, his law, his mountain, his fire. But what if we've missed the voice that came before, the voice that still whispers in the Book of Enoch? This isn't to dishonor Moses. It's to remember that the kingdom of God didn't begin at Sinai. It began in the garden, with a man who walked, who listened, who was taken, who saw. And now we must ask a dangerous question. What if the watchers weren't merely angels? What if they were something else? Ancient aliens or ancient angels? The fallen ones, the watchers, the Nephilim. These are not just Bible words. They are echoes across cultures, Sumerian tablets, Babylonian myths, ancient lore scattered like breadcrumbs through time. And some have begun to ask, were they angels or were they ancient aliens? Enoch describes beings who descended from heaven, who gave humanity knowledge, who altered DNA, who built empires through forbidden wisdom. This matches, eerily, the descriptions found in Mesopotamian texts about the Anunnaki, gods who came from the stars, who taught writing, architecture, warfare, agriculture. In Sumerian lore, a figure named Enmeduranki is said to have ascended into the heavens and returned with divine knowledge. Sound familiar? He is the seventh king. Enoch is the seventh patriarch. Enmeduranki brings the Me, celestial codes. Enoch sees the heavenly tablets. The parallels are stunning. Even the Book of Watchers speaks of angels descending in a craft-like formation, a great mountain of metal, a luminous structure, details that some interpret not as metaphors, but as misunderstood technology. Could it be that the line between angels and extraterrestrials is thinner than we think? That what ancient eyes saw as divinity, modern minds might call alien? This is not heresy, it is humility. The Bible itself is full of strange vehicles, chariots of fire, wheels within wheels, beings with wings and eyes and lightning. The truth may be more mysterious than we were ever told. But here is the dividing line. The Watchers rebelled. Whether they were angels or gods, they corrupted, deceived, destroyed. Their knowledge brought bondage, not freedom, control, not wisdom. And Enoch names them for what they were, traitors to heaven. The healing comes not in knowing what they were, but in remembering who reigns. The Most High still rules. The Son of Man still judges. The earth is not forsaken. And humanity, though bruised by deception, is still destined for redemption. Comment below. Do you think the Watchers were fallen angels, or something even older? Should the Church revisit these ancient truths? Because the veil is lifting. The story is shifting. And what comes next may change everything you thought you knew. The Book of Enoch is not just a forgotten text. It is a mirror, a blazing mirror held up to the soul of this generation. It reflects the rebellion of the Watchers, the rise of the Nephilim, the cries of the righteous, and the fire of divine justice. But more than history, more than prophecy, it speaks to the ache within you, the ache for meaning, for redemption, for a kingdom not built on fear, but on truth. Every page bleeds with urgency. Every vision shatters the illusion that the unseen world is silent. Every line whispers, "You were made for more." You who have wondered, you who have questioned, you who have felt the tug of eternity while staring at the emptiness of this world. This message is for you. There is a reason your heart burns when you hear of the Watchers falling. There is a reason the Nephilim disturb your sleep. There is a reason the Son of Man, radiant and enthroned, makes your breath catch in your throat. It is because your spirit remembers. It remembers a time before you were born. It remembers the voice of the Most High calling the stars by name. It remembers the covenant carved into your soul before you ever took your first breath. That is why you are drawn to ancient texts like the Book of Enoch. Yet not because of curiosity, but because of calling. We are living in days that mirror the days of Noah. Violence has multiplied. The lines between heaven and earth are blurred by pride and perversion. Powers move in the shadows. Corruption is celebrated. Truth is mocked. But still the righteous rise. Still the faithful watch. Still the Spirit moves. And the Son of Man waits, his throne unshaken, his eyes like fire, his name written from the foundation of the world. The Book of Enoch is more than a record. It's a warning wrapped in wonder. It's a fire for the cold-hearted and a light for the lost. It reveals that no evil goes unseen, that no rebellion escapes justice, that every fallen angel, every corrupted power, every dark throne will fall, but also that every tear you've cried, every prayer whispered in the night, every moment you chose light over shadow, matters. The heavens record it, the angels carry it, the book of life reflects it. And you, yes, you are not too far gone, not too broken, not too forgotten. The same God who called Enoch up into the sky, who gave him visions beyond time, now calls your name. He is not asking for perfection. He is not demanding performance. He is inviting you into a deeper knowing, into sacred fire, into a walk that transcends religion and enters revelation. If you've felt the world collapsing around you, if you've seen the systems fail, if you've longed for justice deeper than politics and peace stronger than performance, then let Enoch's voice echo within you. Let his courage stir your bones. Let his warnings awaken your discernment. Let his visions baptize you in holy fear and eternal hope. The Son of Man is not a metaphor. He is real. He is moving. He is returning. And every soul that still honors righteousness, that still weeps for truth, that still bows in awe at the holiness of God, you are not alone. There are more like you, quiet ones, watching ones, burning ones, all over the world. Not gathered in palaces, not clothed in gold, but hidden in prayer, armed with love, ready for the harvest. If this message stirred something in you, if the Book of Enoch opened a door in your heart that had long been sealed, I invite you to stay close, stay awake, stay burning. There is more coming, more truth, more mystery, more clarity. This channel is a place for the seekers, the broken-hearted, the wild ones who still believe that heaven speaks. If this video brought value to your soul, if it gave you light in a dark season, or helped you find clarity in the chaos, I invite you to offer a little energy back, a gesture, a whisper, an act of support, so that more of these messages can rise. Your presence is already a gift, but every bit of encouragement, every unseen kindness, helps keep this fire alive. Whether it's a like, a comment, a share, or simply staying connected, your support is a seed, and every seed matters. Should the Book of Enoch be part of the Bible? Should the fallen angels be judged with the same fire as men? Should we continue to silence the voices that dared to tell the truth too early? Let the comment section become a field of revelation. Let your voice join the ancient conversation. Let the hungry speak. Let the watchful rise. Like, subscribe. Stand with me, not for numbers, but for truth. For fire, for souls who still feel the wind of eternity brushing past their face. Thank you, from the depths of my heart, for walking this journey with me. Every moment you gave was sacred. Every heart that heard this message matters. And I pray that what was stirred in you today will not fade, but burn, brighter and brighter, until the day of his coming. Keep watching. Keep seeking. Keep burning. The Son of Man is nearer than we think, and he is not coming quietly.